All right, so I have started recording the call. There's 23 out of 70 of you here. But the 3 who have notified me that you are taking your MWET today and asked to be excused, all the best. And for those of you who do have MWET today, but you didn't notify me in advance, please message me either in the Telegram groups, in the WhatsApp groups, or message me personally to let me know where you are, so that I know you're not just sleeping in instead of entering the Google Meet. I mean, you could be sleeping during this Google Meet and I cannot see you, but that is besides the point. All right. So I would like to tell you that, hold on, I'm copying a link to that today's class I want to discuss about Kingdom Animalia. I know I haven't put out the videos for each of the phylum, and that's not necessary for you to watch the video before you go into today's Google Meet. Yang penting kamu ada tengok imbas dia punya lecture note, cukup membadai untuk kamu ikut untuk kelas hari ini. Good morning, Shifa. Good morning. Okay, Esther sudah say good morning tadi. Okay, so what we're going to do in this class, I am sharing this Jamboard with you. There's a link in the chat and you can see on the screen as well. I'm sharing the screen. Kita guna macam whiteboard lah untuk kelas kita hari ini. So we're just going to go through very quickly. You can read your notes to answer my questions. We're going to go through the unique characteristics of Kingdom Animalia. We're going to talk very quickly about the 9 phylum. And then we're also going to very quickly look over the evolutionary relationship between the 9 phylum. Now, I know I spent more time with the other subtopics in chapter 1 before, but I realize I am falling behind. So that's why I want to make this subtopic a lot faster, and I try to enter into chapter 2 this week. Okay, setakat ni okay kan? Boleh kita mula? Okay, boleh. Thank you, Eva. All right, so very quickly, I want, thank you, Marnie. All right, I want one person to open their mic and quickly tell me what are the unique characteristics of Kingdom Animalia. Ini sepatutnya ada dalam slide tu kalau kamu ada tengok slide. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 unique characteristics that apply to all organisms in Kingdom Animalia. You could find the slides in the SB025 punya website. Walaupun saya belum share version saya.
Multicellular eukaryotes.
Sorry, Evie?
Multicellular eukaryotes.
Okay, they are multicellular eukaryotes, correct?
Heterotroph.
Correct, heterotroph, correct?
Lack cell wall.
Correct.
Have a period of embryonic development.
Okay, correct.
Motile.
Correct.
Have nervous and muscle tissue.
Correct.
Diploid.
Okay, correct. So those are the unique characteristics of Kingdom Animalia. Apa yang Evelisa cakap tadi semua betul. They're multicellular eukaryotes, like cell wall, heterotrophic, blah, 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 blah. Period of embryonic development means dia ada satu bahagian daripada kehidupan dia, life cycle dia adalah sebagai embryo. So you were an embryo when you were a baby in your mother's womb, or a fetus in your mother's womb. Okay, and other organisms can be embryo while in the egg, or they can be free living embryo in the water. Okay, contoh kalau haiwan laut, certain marine species, maybe they are embryo, not in egg, but they are floating around in the water or somewhere in the water. Tapi ada masa yang dia adalah sebagai embryo. That applies to all Animalia. Okay, and then I want you to very quickly I want you guys to answer with microphone. Tell me a phylum in Animalia and give an example of an organism. Satu orang satu phylum pun boleh. Kalau satu orang mau cakap banyak phylum satu kali pun boleh. Dipersilakan. Tell me phylum in Animalia and contoh organism dari phylum itu.
Phylum Porifera.
Mhm.
Contoh organism sponges.
Okay, very good. Okay, just now was Akila. Very good, Akila. Thank you. Anybody else? Please open your mic to answer. Marni Silenterata, yes, that is a phylum, but you need to open mic and tell me. Okay, it's fine. All right. So Marni message in the chat, Silenterata example is jellyfish. Okay, correct. Silenterata, Colenterata. Correct, but usually we go by this name, Nidaria. And example is jellyfish. Okay, pun betul juga. Phylum Nidaria, the C is silent. Anybody else? I told you this will go faster if you answer.
Phylum Nematoda. Example, all roundworms with no segment.
All roundworms with no segment. Okay, very good. Thank you, Dayang. So that is phylum Nematoda. Any roundworms? Roundworms with no segment. Okay, anything else? Should be 9 phylum. We're only 3 out of 9.
Miss,
Yes?
phylum Annelida.
Okay, very good, Rizman.
Example, earthworm.
Okay, very good, earthworm. Very nice. We're doing good. We have 4 out of 9.
Miss,
Yes?
phylum Mollusca.
Okay, very good, Eva.
Example, garden snail.
Garden snail, very good. Thank you, Eva. Kamu mengelak yang start dengan P itu kan. Kamu malu mau cakap, mau sebut.
Miss.
Yes, Rizwan?
Ini phylum Arthropoda kita sebutkan, Miss.
Ya, betul. Phylum Arthropoda.
Poda. Example, spider.
Okay, very good. So Arthropoda, example, spider. Very good. Thank you, Rizwan.
Miss,
Yes?
phylum Echinodermata, dia punya contoh starfish.
Okay, very good, Alice. Thank you. So Echinodermata example is starfish. Very nice. Okay, two more.
Phylum Platyhelminthes.
Yes, correct, Claire.
Known as flatworms.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Claire.
Okay, Miss.
Okay, Platyhelminthes atau Platyhelminthes. Nama juga dua-dua. These are flatworms. And the last one. This is you.
The last one is phylum Chordata.
Okay, very good once again, Rizma. Thank you.
Example salamander.
Salamander. Okay, very good. Okay, salamander. All right. So thank you very much, everybody who has responded. So these are the 9 phylum that we can find in Kingdom Animalia. Depending on some books, sometimes they add more phylum and tapi dia orang biasanya tidak kurang lah. Tapi kadang-kadang dia orang tambah. Tapi ini adalah 9 phylum utama yang kita akan tengok bila kita belajar pasal Animalia. So looking at each of these, there will be unique characteristics in each of these phylum, but I am not going to go through each of them one by one right now. I will, however, point out a few things that are more outstanding about each phylum. So for example, kalau kita tengok phylum Porifera, phylum Porifera, apa yang menonjol pasal phylum ini adalah dia adalah sponge, of course. They don't have true organs. So walaupun dia ada sel yang berbeza dia punya function, dia tidak boleh diklasifai sebagai organ yang separate. So sometimes some books say they don't have true tissue, no true organ. So dia macam sangat immature, a very simple form of animals. Nidaria, jellyfish, and things that look like jellyfish. Things that stand out about this one is they have 2 body plans. Okay, dia akan ada medusa dengan dia ada polyp. Kalau dia adalah polyp, dia menghadap ke atas. Lubang dia menghadap ke atas. Kalau dia adalah medusa, lubang dia menghadap ke bawah, macam jellyfish. And another thing that really stands out about phylum Nidaria is their nidocytes. Nidocytes, which will have nematosis. So ini adalah benda yang menyebabkan jellyfish ataupun sea anemone itu berbisa. You know, they say about stinging jellyfish, this is the stinging cell in this phylum. So this is something unique to this phylum. I hope you remember that when you look at the notes later. And then we are going to look at 3 types of worms when we look at Kingdom Animalia. 3 jenis cacing yang mungkin masa kamu imbas-imbas lecture note kamu ada nampak. Cacing pertama adalah Platyhelminthes. Cacing kedua Nematoda. Cacing ketiga adalah Annelida. So these are 3 types of worms. But walaupun dia nampak menggelikan, nampak macam cacing, tapi dia adalah jenis-jenis cacing yang berbeza. Flatworms are flat. So the body plan is going to be different. This is acoelomid. Okay, kalau kamu tengok dia dari tepi memang dia nampak flat, rata. And a normal example that we use for this is Planaria species. Okay, so Planaria is the one yang bentuk dia macam begini. Okay, macam mata dia. So that is Planaria species, and usually they use it in example yang, okay, kalau kamu kerat separuh, dia boleh regenerate. Separuh jadi full body, the other half also become full body. So that is something that always stands out about Platyhelminthes to me. The second cacing is Nematoda. So these are smooth roundworms. Dia licin saja. Ini pun ada dia punya uniqueness nanti. Nematodes, although they are less known if you don't study biology, kamu tidak akan berapa fokus kepada nematoda. Tapi actually fungsi dan peranan nematoda dalam ekosistem adalah sangat-sangat besar. I think some scientists say if you remove everything else from the earth and you only look at the nematodes, you can still get an outline of the earth. Maksud statement tu adalah kalau kamu ambil bumi ini, kamu buang semua atmosfera, buang semua tanah-tanah, buang semua organisme lain, kamu tinggalkan phylum nematoda saja, kamu masih boleh nampak bentuk bumi itu, like the shape, the outline of the earth. Because nematodes are very, very widespread. They are in the soil, they are in the water, they are in some other organisms, even in trees, even in you. So, dia boleh bagus, dia boleh buruk. Later you learn about that. And another one is Annelida. So Annelida is things like earthworms, cacing tanah. This one is with segmentation. Ada juga organism yang dalam phylum Annelida tapi kita tidak nampak dia punya garisan-garisan. I think lintah is under Annelida. Later you have a look at that. Okay, and these three phylum are always compared with each other. Orang suka untuk minta kamu compare antara Platyhelminthes nematoda dengan Annelida. Sebab tiga-tiga nampak macam cacing, tapi kalau kamu tengok dari segi dalaman, dia ada banyak perbezaan dia. Okay, I just have to make sure I'm still on mic. Okay, good. Alright, after that, I would like to talk about mollusca. Mollusca is garden snail, but also octopus and squids. And also clams. Okay. Kerang-kerangan, siput-siputan, dan sotong-sotongan. So it's a very diverse phylum. Some of them look stupid. Macam siput babi, kadang kau rasa dia ni budu kah lembab. And of course you have the joke about siput babi. Kenapa siput babi jalan lambat? Sebab dia balik-balik berfikir dia ni siput kah babi. Anyway, lame joke over. Clams are also not showing much intelligence. Kalau kamu tengok kerang tu, kamu tidaklah rasa kerang tu pandai buat matematik. But there are organisms in phylum Mollusca that show a high level of intelligence. For example, octopus and squids. They are shown to be very intelligent, they can solve puzzles, and sometimes they even have attitude. Okay, so kalau kamu mau tengok video-video pasal octopus yang dipiara dalam aquarium, kamu boleh nampak octopus tu dia pandai solve Rubik's Cube, dia pandai buka container, dia pandai marah kalau orang yang kasih makan dia lambat kasih makan. So, yeah, this phylum is outstanding when we talk about intelligence or its development. When we talk about Echinodermata, okay, Echinodermata, this is usually things like starfish, sea cucumbers. Sea cucumbers include things like gamat. Gamat yang dijadikan minyak sapu dan sesetengah orang makan juga gamat. So that is under phylum Echinodermata. Ini yang outstanding bagi saya adalah bila dia larva form dan bila dia adult form. Larva dia adalah bilateral symmetry. Bila dia adult, dia adalah radial symmetry. But only some. So things like starfish, they can have radial symmetry, but when they are larvae, they are bilateral, for example. So that's something to take note. Arthropoda, phylum Arthropoda is very, very outstanding. For this phylum, you need to remember why they are the most successful phylum. Arthropoda termasuklah segala kumbang-kumbang, semut-semut, spider-spider, benda yang buat girlfriend kamu teriak ataupun kakak atau adik kamu teriak ataupun boyfriend kamu teriak bila dia nampak. They are very successful because of several factors. Contoh macam dia punya exoskeleton, appendages. There are a lot of things. Later you'll have a look at it in the notes. But do remember to read why they are the most successful phylum. And last but not least, we have core data. When you read about phylum chordata, you will find there are some traits that you don't see on yourself, but is actually still part of you. Nanti kita tengok dalam phylum ni lah, bila kamu sampai kepada nota tu, kalau kamu ada soalan, kamu boleh tanya. Tapi contoh benda macam segmentation, walaupun kita tidak nampak dari segi luaran kita semasa kita sudah dewasa, kalau kita tengok dari segi embrio, kita masih boleh nampak. So to look at the characteristics for phylum chordata, sometimes you look at the embryonic stage, sometimes you look at the adult stage. Okay, so that is all I want to tell you for this segment. Okay. So far, any questions before I move on to the next part? Okay, saya rasa okay lah tu. Then I can move on to the next segment. Thank you, Eveliska. Okay, so the next thing I would like you to tell me is, can somebody read out what are the 4 criteria we look when we are looking at the evolutionary relationships between these 9 phylum? When we look at the evolutionary relationship, what are the 4 criteria?
Whether it have true tissue or not.
Okay. Good. Anything else? Thank you, Yap. There's more criteria. Come on, guys.
Means level of organization.
Body symmetry, level of organization. Let me see level of organization termasuk atau tidak. Tapi body symmetry betul. Thank you. Level of organization. No. Level of organization is not the criteria when we look at at Kingdom Animalia. Level of organization itu lebih kepada yang 1.1 bila kita baru mau bahagikan dia kepada 5 kingdom. Sekarang masuk sudah dalam Kingdom Animalia, mau bahagikan dia kepada 9 phylum, kita tidak guna kriteria itu. But good try, good answer. Thank you. Anything else? Body symmetry. Germ layer, very good. Germ layer, that was Mas Afiza. Thank you very much. Anything else? Ada at least 4 kriteria yang kita boleh tengok.
Segmentation.
Segmentation. Okay, very good. Segmentation. One more criteria. Pasal silom ka, tiada silom ka, pseudosilum ka, itu under
Body cavity.
Okay, very correct. So that is under body cavity. Okay, so you notice there are 4, I say 4 criteria, but we have 5 here. True tissue or no true tissue is considered boleh boleh terima, tapi biasa kita fokus kepada 4 ini. Body symmetry, germ layer, segmentation ataupun body cavity. Tapi true tissue is still accepted in some books. So still good answer, yeah, thank you. Alright, so for body symmetry, ini adalah dia asymmetrical, bilaterally symmetrical, ataupun radially symmetrical. Okay, this one should have no problem. Tapi kalau kamu bingung, masih boleh tanya nanti. Kalau malu di group, boleh PM. Okay, germ layer is talking about whether it has an ectoderm plus endoderm only. So that is diploblastic. Ataupun dia ada ectoderm, mesoderm, endoderm, which is triploblastic. Very quickly, can anyone answer me? Human is diploblastic or triploblastic?
Triplo.
Yes, correct. Humans are triploblastic because when we are embryo, we form ectoderm, mesoderm, endoderm. Okay, very good answer. All right, and then when we talk about segmentation, sama ada dia segmented ataupun unsegmented. This one is fairly straightforward lah. Kalau kamu nampak dia terpisah kepada beberapa segmen, segmented lah tu. And body cavity is the one that usually people get stuck on. So don't worry if you take a bit of time to understand this one. This is whether it is coelomate, pseudocoelomate, pseudocoelomate ataupun acoelomate. Okay, so kalau dia pseudocoelomate, kalau dia acoelomate. Kalau dia acoelomate, that means it's gonna have the ectoderm. Terus dia punya mesoderm. And then dia punya endoderm. I'm using the same colors as in the books. Okay, so ini dia tiada ruangan kosong lah, tiada phylum, no body cavity. If it is pseudocoelomate, you start with the ectoderm. And then you have the mesoderm. Okay, ini mesoderm saya. And then you have the empty space. Barulah kamu punya endoderm. So the pseudocoelom is here. Ini adalah pseudocoelom. Whereas if it's coelomate, you have the ectoderm, mesoderm, okay, mesoderm kamu tebal sedikit. Lepas tu ada macam ini, baru di dalam dia adalah endoderm. So here the coelom, masih ada ruangan kosong, tapi ruangan kosong itu dilindungi ataupun diselubungi oleh kamu punya mesoderm. So this is your coelom. Of course, both lah. Okay. So far, any questions about this? About the 4 criteria? Pada level kamu tidak perlu macam fikir banyak sangat pasal ini coelomate, pseudocoelomate, acoelomate. If you want to go deeper into biology, you will study more about this, but not all branches of biology, only if you want to study more about anatomy and evolution of animals. Sama ada dia coelomate, pseudocoelomate, acoelomate akan mempengaruhi dia punya organ punya development. So apa organ yang boleh ada dalam badan tu, dia terhad ataupun tidak, badan dia lembut ataupun tidak, dia gunakan hydrostatic skeleton ataupun tidak, ataupun jenis muscle yang macam mana dia boleh ada. So that is going to influence the organism and each of the species. But you don't have to stress about it now. Any questions? Okay. Alright, so what if you are asked, coba contohlah kuis ka, UPS ka, tiba-tiba kamu kena tanya, is phylum, which of this phylum is coelomate, acoelomate ataupun does not have symmetry, ataupun soalan tanya, which of these phylum is triploblastic, dan kamu tiba-tiba tersentap, kamu tidak dapat ingat which one is which. Then I would like to share with you this tip that I got from another lecturer for you to remember what each of the phylum have. First, you need to list out the phylum according to how we remember it. Saya bagi tip macam mana kita ingat, kita tulis PCP, Namek. Okay, this one, P is Porifera. Second one is Nidaria. Third one is Platyhelminthes. Nematoda. Annelida. Arthropoda. Macam mana saya ingat? MNO barulah PQR. So N is before R, Annelida dulu, baru Arthropoda. M mollusca, E echinodermata or echinodermata, and last but not least C is chordata. Okay, we're looking at this. And then the first one will not have true tissue. Everybody else will have true tissue. Now we look at the criteria yang kita cakap tadi. Which is, we're going to start with whether or not it is diploblastic or triploblastic. Untuk ingat diploblastic ataupun triploblastic, kita start dengan Nidaria. Nidaria will be diploblastic. Everything else will be triploblastic. And then we look at asymmetry. Symmetry, Porifera will be asymmetrical. Nidaria will be radially symmetrical. Everything else will be bilaterally symmetrical. With the exception of echinodermata, echinodermata will be bilaterally symmetrical as a larva and radially symmetrical as an adult. Untuk ini kita ingat starfish. And then we look at coelom. When we look at coelom, we are focusing on the cacing-cacing. For the cacing-cacing, Platyhelminthes will be acoelomate. Sorry, there's a cat next to me. Nematoda will be pseudocoelomate. Everybody else from Annelida down here is coelomate. And last but not least, we have segmentation. So untuk segmentation, we take the first three groups, the first three phylum. For segments, dari mengikut urutan alphabetical order. So start dengan A, Annelida, Arthropoda, between Cnidaria and Chordata. Kita tengok mana satu duluan. CH, H duluan daripada N. So kita letak CH, Chordata. So these three, tiga phylum pertama menurut susunan abjad, the first three phylum in alphabetical order, will be segmented organisms. And then everything else is unsegmented. Kalau kamu masih mau tengok dari kriteria lain, so for example, you want to classify them into vertebrate and invertebrate, you can also do that. The only one that is considered vertebrate, vertebrata, is chordata. Everything else is invertebrate. Okay. So this is what some lecturers would label as PCP namek. PCP namek. Porifera, Cnidaria, Platyhelminthes, Nematoda, Annelida, Arthropoda, Mollusca, Echinodermata, and Chordata. I didn't come up with this. I told you I take it from another lecturer. That lecturer, if you knew him when you were PDT student, is Sir Matlaju. Now he's in SDS. Sekarang dia ajar PhD sudah. Okay, so this is a good tip for you to learn how to memorize. Okay, any questions? Atau any part you want me to repeat? Semua okay? Ada soalan berkenaan sebarang topik phylum dalam chapter ni?
Okay lah, Miss.
Okay, all right, thank you. Yep. All right, so that is it for the content itself. Just to summarize what we did in today's class, I asked you to share the unique characteristics of kingdom Animalia. I asked you to share with me the 9 phylum and an example from each phylum. I also pointed out what are the things that stand out for each of the phylum. And then I went through the 4 criteria that we use to look at evolutionary relationship between these 9 phylum, and also give you this apa panggil ni, bukan whatever, this thing to help you memorize, blah blah. All right, so thank you very much for your time and your attention. Before I end the class, I do have some announcements that I would like to give. So I'm going to stop presenting the screen. Kita cakap saja lah. Okay, I have a few announcements. The first announcement is that whoever hasn't answered the entrance ticket punya Google Form, yang kamu perlu rate pemahaman kamu untuk setiap subtopik itu, setiap chapter tu dari skala 1 hingga 10 kalau tidak silap. It should be in the GC, but you can share with your friends if they lost the link. K04, 6 more people have an answer. K05, 2 more people have an answer. And K06, 2 more people haven't answered that Google form. So please answer it today, because tomorrow they're going to close the Google form. Okay, And another second announcement is about your assignment. Setakat ini satu orang sudah hantar. Boleh teka siapa? Yes, correct. It's Lim. So, siapa yang selalu lambat hantar kerja, tolonglah contohi Lim yang sudah hantar draft dia 2 minggu lebih awal. Try to submit it sooner lah, so I can mark it sooner and give it back to you. I prefer if you put it into PDF format so that it's easier for me to mark using Kami. But if you put it in PNG or JPG or other format pun okay juga. So no problem as long as it is digital. Okay, so assignment hantar awal, silakan. Jangan hantar lambat. Hantar lambat, saya menanda lambat. Nanti kamu lambat dapat balik kamu punya draft. Lambat kamu buat pembetulan dan kamu dapat kurang markah. Saya mohon semua orang please hantar draft. Jangan yang tidak hantar draft. Draft itu hantar di GC. Draft ada slot di GC. Hold on, I'm gonna show your classes. Okay, I'm gonna share the screen. Okay, so for example, this is K04 punya GC. Under classwork, you can look at the tab for assignment. Here it says assignment, first draft submission slot, and the deadline is February 11th. But if you can submit earlier, that is even better. This will have total 54 marks. Okay, 54 points. Saya tidak akan bagi full mark untuk draft lah, walaupun konten kamu semua betul. Sama ada full mark atau tidak, hanya boleh tahu untuk final draft. Nanti kalau kamu mau send banyak draft pun tidak ada masalah, tapi pastikan first draft sebelum 11 Februari. It's very easy, 15%. So don't throw away your marks. Siapa yang belum isi Google Sheet untuk state kamu punya species apa, tolong isi juga lah. Itu ada di link dia ada di Telegram. And that is when Miss will check again. I will check your first draft as soon as I can. Second draft depends on how busy I am, but I try to mark it before the deadline. Final deadline for assignment is berapa hari bulan tu? Ya, ingat sudah berapa hari bulan final deadline. Anyway, I'll try to find the final deadline. Hold on. Oh, okay, final deadline is 4th of March. Jadi draft kamu asal saya ada masa saya tanda. Final submission saya akan tanda selepas 4 March. Okay. Right. Any questions about assignment?
Miss,
Yes.
about the assignment, if I cannot find the information about the IUCN
Conservation status.
conservation status, then how? If I cannot find any information about that species.
If there is no information about it, then you just put data deficient.
Okay,
DD.
thank you.
Ya. Sebab kalau IUCN tiada status dan sumber-sumber lain pun tidak label dia sebagai hampir pupus ataupun selamat, then you just put data deficient. If it is not in IUCN website, but you find in other website that contoh this other scientist say biawak is actually hampir pupus, then you can put it in the most relevant category. Tapi nyatakan sumber kamu lah. Kalau kamu mau mudahkan kerja saya, masa kamu submit assignment itu, di ruangan komen ke di mana-mana, kamu boleh copy paste link yang kamu gunakan untuk assignment tersebut. If you want to make my job easier. If you want to make it harder, and you leave it in the infograph saja. Which is also no problem. Any more questions about assignment before I continue?
Miss, do you give an extra mark if we add on extra information?
No, sebab saya ada rubrik, jadi berapa maksimum marka untuk kriteria itu sudah maksimum saya dapat bagi. But I saw you put in a lot of extra information, so that's good enough. Thank you.
Okay, Miss. Thank you, Miss.
Okay. All right. So any more questions about assignment, feel free to ask in the group or ask me personally. No problem. If you're texting, I will get back to you as soon as I can. Moving on to third thing I want to announce. Bagi 3 pelajar yang mau balik itu, are you guys here? Is Marie here? Ada kemungkinan kamu tidak dapat balik untuk Chinese New Year. Saya tidak tahu apa perkembangan daripada HEP setakat ni. Mungkin diorang ubah, mungkin tidak. Tapi apa yang saya tahu minggu lepas adalah KPM bilang kamu tidak boleh balik untuk Chinese New Year untuk belajar. So, kuatkan hati sekiranya terpaksa cancel. But do make time on the day itself to video call your family and stuff. And next week, still no face-to-face class. We will have one Google Meet this Friday for me to give overview of Chapter 2. Tutorial for Chapter 1, bahagian objektif tu sila siapkan. Lepas kamu siap bahagian objektif itu, hari Kamis ini saya akan bagi answer scheme dan kita akan bincang dalam Telegram saja, tidak Google Meet. Yeah, okay, that's all I want to say for that. Next announcement is more of a question. How many of you are still not in college yet? Faiza ada sini kah? Faiza, I don't think Faiza is here. Macam dia saja yang saya tahu yang belum sampai di college. I was thinking of giving you guys limau. Boleh lah, besok gajian kan? So boleh lah saya kasih beli limau. And I wanted to send it to your dorm. So nanti pandai-pandai lah kamu datang pergi bawa blok untuk ambil limau. Saya akan label nama. So harap-harap orang lain tidak curi limau kamu. For everybody in my classes. Bukan yang Cina saja. Because celebrations are to be shared. Okay. Alright. Cukup jiwang. Stop recording.